Yo, yo, it's your man Double AB, the Sultan of Steinway Street, man. And I'm here rocking with DroTV. Check it out, man.
Welcome back to My First Time, the show where our guests get to tell their story of the first time they got high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman. Today I'd like to welcome our guest, Double AB. What's happening?
Salute, brother. Good to be with you, man.
Yes, thanks for giving us some time today. You can find more of Double AB on all your streaming platforms at the Double AB. It's TheDoubleAB. We'll have all the links, as always, down below. So, my friend, why don't you start with a little bit about yourself and your artist career?
Yeah, Double AB. I'm a musician, rapper, visual artist, writer. Been doing art my whole life. Grew up in New York City around a bunch of ill artists, from graffiti through writing raps and performing and touring the world alongside my brothers Cannibal Ox and many others. Yeah, just been involved in music and art my whole life. Writing, I have my own comic book as well.
Nice.
And a whole series it's a comic book that's also music. It's called Tales from the Third Rail, which I basically make a song that tells a whole story with a twist ending, then have it illustrated as a comic, but with no other words except the lyrics of the song. And then you could scan the QR code. It takes you to the website. You could download the music, listen along while you read the comic, or it's also a fully animated video as well. So yeah, I've always been involved in music and art. I'm known for writing conceptual lyrics and, and just real rap shit all day,
No doubt. That sounds pretty dope. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, man.
What was it called? Tales from the Third Rail?
Tales from the Third Rail. It's actually available on my website, which is real simple, doubleab.com, DOUBLEAB.com. You go there, you could check out the first episode of Tales from the Third Rail, which is also a physical comic book that I sell online and at my shows as well. So, yeah.
That's pretty sick. I like it. Diversification, right?
Exactly, man.
Nice. That's what's up. Well, AB, the show is My First Time, so we want to know about the first time you got high.
The first time I got high, man, talking about junior high. It's actually funny because I actually spoke on this. I have a song where I mention it, dedication, a song called Dedication, which is a dedication to my best friend from junior high school, who he unfortunately killed himself when he was 16. So he, in a dedication song to him on my album, The Diesel, I basically tell the story. I'm talking to him. I'm like, you were the first to put a blunt in my lips, pull me in the bathroom so I wouldn't cough in front of the chicks, and say, here, kid, take just like 1 or 2 hits. And ever since, every chance I fill my lungs with the shit. So that was really actually very true. The only thing that was a lie, it wasn't a blunt in my lips, it was a joint. But I'd say that, that was a little editorial change to make it rhyme. But other than that, the story is true. Junior high, about 8th grade, me and my boy were just my boy Sean, like I said, one of my best friends, and he, we were at a girl's house. We were cutting school. There was a couple girls over. And he was like, we were just getting into we were real into the culture of hip hop already, but and kind of getting really like Cypress Hill. And we were kind of like getting into the culture of weed smoke without being potheads yet. But we knew we kind of wanted to be potheads. Very innocent. This is very young too. I was about maybe 12 years old, maybe 13, And so, he just, he had been over there. I think he had started smoking weed like the week before me. We used to go to, Sheep's Meadow in Central Park. That was for the real, like, newbies and herbs and up and coming stoners go there because, we didn't know the real weed spots yet. But out there, you could find some guy that's going to sell you a nick for a dime. You know what I mean? And that's what that was how we first got involved with it. And so I remember he had smoked already, and so he was a week in, so he was already educating me, and so he brought me over, but he didn't want to make it look like I didn't know how to smoke, so he's like, yo, come here. He lit a joint, came into the bathroom, called me in the bathroom, so we left the girls in the other room so I didn't embarrass myself, took a few puffs, coughed my face off, you know what I mean? I don't know if I really got that high per se that time. I was still just, baby puffing and not really, I don't know how deep my inhale really was, but shortly thereafter, I was well on my way to becoming a professional stoner. I would say that was about, like I said, that was about 8th grade. And then the next year I went to high school. By the next year, by 9th grade, by 2 weeks into 9th grade, I was a full-on pothead. You know what I mean? But it took about that summer smoking a little bit before high school, experimenting, getting high the first few times. And then, rolling into high school, I became an everyday stoner. It was as a matter of fact, I remember the point where I had to be like, I used to buy comic books every day after school, and I had enough money. And I remember getting to the point where it's like I started smoking every day after school, and I had to like make the decision. I was like, do I want to buy comics or do I want to smoke weed? And which, you know what I mean? Which one am I going to do today? And then I said, fuck comics for many years and got into smoking weed, rap shit, which was dope, and then years later I got back into comics and collecting again, and it was kind of full circle, but it's funny that I was so young that it was like I was such a comic head at the same time becoming a baby pothead, and I had to make the budgeting choice.
No doubt, that's what's up. Yeah, now you've got your own comic book. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly. So it just shows like the things you're into as a kid, you think they're your hobbies or your passions, but you can, sometimes that's where your artistry lies, and what if you love something, just point yourself towards it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's, I learned that from my older brother, who's a lifelong musician, drummer. He was just, he's like, yo, you find you're happy, what you like in life is something that you love. And if you could just point yourself that way and do it, you're gonna, that's your lane. You know what I mean? It could be, wildly successful, unsuccessful, anywhere in between, but if you're doing what you love, you're serving your purpose, and you'd probably be happier for it,
No doubt. So in your comic book collection, like what's your prized possession?
Of comics, shit, I got a bunch of stuff like, old 90s stuff from that era, like all the first Image comics, all the first Spawns, and, and then before that, like, the McFarlane Spider-Mans and, this, that, and the third. None of that stuff is, a lot of it is not worth what we thought it was going to be when we collected them back then, but like, I got a lot of stuff. I mean, I got so much stuff. I continuously read comics. So I'm just like, I consume it so much. I have just boxes and boxes laying around, and I throw them in storage and get more, So it's like, I have stuff that I collect, but I actually, instead of just putting it in a plastic in a drawer somewhere, I actually just stay reading these things. So I just kind of like, I have a bunch of stuff, but I don't, I don't really have like, even though I have so much, there's not something that's pinned on the wall that's revered. It's more like my stash is like useful. I go through it, but I do have like all the stuff I grew up on is in a box saved away, and that would be the stuff I would bring up and just reminisce. Just certain issues, just the issues I had when I was actually a kid are just very like special to me or something. I break those out and it just brings you back to that time and place,
Right, no doubt.
Yeah, man.
I had Wolverine #1 and my brother pawned it on me, so
man.
It was funny.
Crazy.
I think I paid $50 for it. I was looking it up like a year ago.
Which one? The Frank Miller Wolverine #1 or Wolverine ongoing? Because there's like 5. That's the thing, like there's so many different
Whatever the first one
series.
was, where he just had like his fingers up on the cover or something, it was like an orange, I think. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's I think that's maybe the ongoing. He had a short first. I mean, I think worth more money would be the limited series run, which they did first, and
Okay.
then they did an ongoing series. So if you had the limited series run, which was only, I don't know how many issues it was. It was like 5 issues. If you
Okay.
have that number one, I believe, but I could be wrong. You got to go through the specifics. But yeah, I got a bunch of old Wolverines, and there were many dope runs of it. You know what I mean? It's funny you say that because I was in where was I? Oh, I was in New Orleans over the holiday, and I went into a comic shop out there, and a dude brought in. He's like, I have Spider-Man #1, and I looked it up. This is worth $250,000, and the guy's like, he's like, I'm gonna slow you down a little bit. This is probably not that. Then he looked at it. He's like, yeah, this is a Spider-Man from the 90s #1 when they did just Spider-Man. The real Spider-Man #1 would be Amazing Spider-Man #1. And this is worth this, and this is not worth that. It's worth $10, you know what I mean? Which is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
a big difference from $250,000. But yeah, it could be that. And then it's like, is your shit in peak condition? It's dope. I love old comics too, just having them, the look, the feel, the smell of them. But whether it's worth something is that's up to the nerds and the evaluators. See if you got something that's
Sure.
worth it or not. That's it.
No, it's great that you're a collector and not somebody that just has money that buys these things to put them up on a wall, right? So they
Right,
look
right,
good,
right.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. I'm hands on with my shit. I want to open it up and not feel bad about smoking a spliff in the room while the things in. Some of these things, if you collecting real shit, you want to keep it archival where you don't even want no smoke in the house. You don't want, keep that air vac sealed somewhere where it's gonna just stay or appreciate in value. But me, I'm like, I can't have my toys without playing with them, bro.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So what's your preferred method of consumption? You blunts, joints, bongs, dabs,
Joints,
edibles?
joints all the way, man. I grew up really on blunts, being a New York baby. We smoked a lot of Phillies, then White Owls, then Dutches for many years. But, going on damn near a decade and a half, I quit blunts like semi early when a lot, I started going to Cali a lot, and being heavily involved with weed shit out there, and getting to know smoking really great weed and just not wanting to pollute it with fucking tobacco. Now I look at somebody pass me a blunt, I look at it like, ugh, disgusting. Whereas when I was younger, I felt like I wasn't getting high unless I smoked the blunt. But that's after you become addicted to the
Sure.
tobacco of it. So nowadays, I just roll myself. This is a little fucking chip I got laying around, but I just roll. I lived out in London for a while, and I learned how to roll really nice cones with a mouthpiece and everything. And once you can roll a nice cone, it's a little more of an art than rolling a blunt. But once you can, burn so nice, you taste it. I always use the thinnest rice paper. I don't even fuck with the hemp paper because I feel like the hemp paper is even a little too thick. So I like a
Okay.
very thin rice paper. I use Elements now. Um, yeah, that's what that I've been on for mad long, and I don't. I'll do a dab here and there. I'll smoke some concentrates. They have some amazing flavors. It's crazy what it is now, the game, how it is. But down to my core, I just like smoking flower, and I like smoking a joint that feels like a cigarette. I don't like bongs and pipes. I mean, I'll take a pull from a one hitter or something here and there, but I like to sit and chill with my joint and slowly get high. It's like I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not. It's the difference between like a refined wine drinker and somebody that wants to chug a 40 of Old English real quick.
Right, right.
You might get drunker chugging a 40 of Old English. I'm not trying to get drunker or higher. I'm trying to sit with my joint. That's why I don't like bongs, because sometimes you get too high at once. It's a kind of a head rush, and you get more of a paranoid feeling. I like to slowly relax, have a convo, laugh, get high, put it out if I need to put it out, just be real refined about it. You know what I mean? I love tasty weed. I've been a weed connoisseur my whole life, and we used to go to Amsterdam for and get the cannabis cup winners and get the seeds and bring them back, and now to see what California has done, and in the last couple of decades, and just remade the whole fucking weed game theirs, and it's just fucking beautiful, and it's all over, really. I mean, it's not just Cali, it's not just any place now. I mean, you got a dope indoor setup, you could grow some dope herb anywhere, but I've always been a fan of the plant, and I've always been a fan of just how hand in hand weed goes with music. And so, people know me for always having good weed and always being around good music and art. So it's natural that I'll be here on DroTV with you.
No doubt. I love it.
Yeah, man.
I've been on a couple European tours with MDOT, and they all sprinkle their tobacco in the weed. Do they do that in London too?
Yep. All tobacco. So you'll be at a party in London, and they only smoke spliffs. You pass them a joint with pure weed in it, they'll be like, "Oh, what is this, mate? I can't smoke it." Like, they acting like they can't smoke it. Meanwhile, you're at a party and somebody's like, "Hey, you want to hit this spliff, blood?" And they'll pass you something. You take a pull thinking it's some pure Mary Jane, and it's 75% tobacco, 25%, usually not even weed. More common in Europe is hash, and a lot of it is like this janky, like brown hash. It's all right, but it's not. The regular street shit it's definitely it tastes like it tastes like you hitting a straight cigarette. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, so disgusting. But yeah, they heavily on that tobacco shit. So I was doing that when I was out there. I just got into the habit of that too. But it's gross. It's funny because it finally made it to the hoods in America where they're smoking grabba. They take grabba and put it in their weed, which is like the same shit. But I'm like, to me, it's gross, man, because the tobacco plant and the cannabis plant are like fucking polar opposites to me. Yes. And you know what I mean? And so I'm a purist. I really truly believe that cannabis is not harmful. It's more beneficial than, sure, smoking, you're consuming tar and carcinogens, but there's properties in the weed that fight free radicals that are anti-cancer properties of the weed itself, which is why weed smokers don't experience the cancer rates and shit of tobacco smokers. And tobacco is like another thing. I could tell you from boxing, from being involved in athletics, that a little bit of you smoke one cigarette, you're going to be huffing and puffing in the ring later, or jogging, or whatever it is. It really affects you. Whereas weed smoke does not seem to do that. You know what I mean? So, once I separated and got the blunts out of my life, oh man, I do not miss it at all. It took a while though. It took, like, I gotta say, I was like fiending for blunts for like damn near a year after I quit them. I would see people smoking a blunt and be like, I want to smoke that. But now, oh my God, it's a total opposite. It grosses me out. I fucking, I was around, peace to the whole Runts gang. I was cool with many of the forefathers of the Runts that, was like the most popular weed strain out in the last 5 years practically. And these guys smoke giant fucking bats that are backwoods. And you know what I mean? Like, I had them in here blowing the whole fucking crib down. And I'm like, man, I can't do it, bro. It's just, it doesn't appeal to me, man. There's any tobacco in it is not like, it just does. It fucks with my experience. It takes me out of the great weed experience. So it's just all what you get used to, I guess.
Hey everybody, I want to quickly mention Food Forest Abundance. Food Forest Abundance is a great way to create your own self-sustaining food forest and naturally occurring ecosystem that's commonly found in nature, but designed specifically for you. Through multiple layers of trees, shrubs, herbs, vines, rhizomes, mushrooms, and perennial vegetables, you can become your own supply chain without the typical maintenance required of a garden. From small spaces to large areas, both urban and suburban, Food Forest Abundance wants us to get back to our roots in nature by engaging with our food production in a meaningful way. For more information, click on the link in the description below and start your journey today. Okay, let's get back to today's episode. Yeah, it's crazy harsh now because I was a big blunt smoker myself, and then I just it, whether it's the tobacco paper or just the way it burns, but yeah, it's almost like for a week I'm like coughing up and
Yeah, nasty. You could feel that shit. Just, it's a total non-loving plant, the tobacco plant, where weed is such a gentle, loving plant, picks you up, puts you back down nice, no fucking hangover, no like intense physical dependency like these other plants. It's just such a loving plant, man. It's like, there's very few plants and drugs in nature that are so, it's gentle and loving to the human body, man. I mean, even look at coffee. Caffeine drops you way harder than weed drops you. Caffeine will pick you up and drop you on your head, an hour later. You know what I mean? So it's like, and they're great. Each one of these things serves their purpose, but it's like, weed just seems to have, a special kind of property for humans. And, we have our own endocannabinoid systems within our own brain chemistry. So we're hardwired to relate to this drug through, God knows how long of codependency with it through our history as a species. So it's some very deep shit,
Yeah, for real.
Okay. Yeah,
man. So let's talk about Lungs of Mahalia.
Yep, Lungs of Mahalia. That's my
Mahalia,
album.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. It's an ode. That one's an ode to it's kind of about smoking weed, actually. It comes from it's the first line off the new single me and my brother Jit Beats just dropped called On My Way. And I say, drug inhaler, inhale the bud with the lungs of Mahalia and glide over troubled waters like a subtle sailor. Drug inhaler, inhale the bud with the lungs of Mahalia and glide over troubled waters like a subtle sailor. A son of Samuel, if you set me up for sudden failure. They say they love you, but they really want to fucking kill you. So I'm basically using a metaphor. Mahalia Jackson, who's an awesome gospel singer, who's often credited as having the best voice ever, the most godly, angelic pipes, lungs. So, I'm saying drug inhaler, inhale the bud with the lungs of Mahalia. So the album me and Jit are working on is called Lungs of Mahalia. And we just dropped the second single, which is On My Way. The first single we dropped just before the new year, which was Sashimi, which we shot in my homie's all vinyl sushi speakeasy party called Raw Like Sushi, which is kind of a trendy little party downtown here in Lower East Side of Manhattan. Queens get the money long time from the strong grind. Fiends with no Wi-Fi still be online. Me, I'm just trying to keep a strong mind. Keep a couple raw rhymes in the archives. Keep a couple soft eyes and my palms wide. When it's time, separate them like apartheid. And yeah, so we just been rolling out the project. We got some dope guests on there. We got, Jit is incredible. He's just such a master beatsmith. We call him Jit the Genius. Me and PF Cutting. I've been recording, mixing, mastering with my brother PF out in East New York. Jit sending us the beats, so me and PF be like, "Ooh, Jit the Genius sent over another ill one." So yeah, we just been cooking up like a bunch of dope stuff, and we kind of got extra on it through the pandemic, and now we got like a bunch of music kind of built up. We actually have, to be honest, me and Jit have about 2 albums. So Lungs of Mahalia is the first, and then from there we'll roll out another one behind that. As well. And I got some other projects I'm working on as well. I got an album called Animal Instinct with my homegirl Nejma Nefertiti and my boy Dub Sonata on production. It's a concept album where each song is a different animal we're kind of breaking down. So that's another project we're going to air out soon. And I got another thing called Chrome Ninja series with my man Vord Omega from Cannibal Ox. So I'm gonna be putting out a lot of music. The next 2 years actually should be very heavily packed with music. I'm trying to get as much of it out as I can within the time frame. It's a little harder. Polishing everything out and putting it out is not as easy as just recording the music and having it. But I have so much ready to go now. So we're just, getting it ready for the rollout, which feels great,
That's awesome. You got a release date for Lungs of Mahalia?
We don't have an exact release date yet because we're just going to be dropping single by single. And then when we're about, I would say a little like 50, 60% in. So we got 2 singles out now. We're about to drop the third in another week or two. From there, we'll probably drop maybe 2 or 3 more singles, and then we'll give you the whole album. So you're going to get about half the album rolled out as singles first. So, they're going to be half of the music will be out there. That said, I would say, by April, I would say maybe end of March, early April, tentatively will be the whole album, Lungs of Mahalia, out.
No doubt. Is that coming out on Man Bites Dog?
This one is just me and Jit together. So it's on Armed and Brutal and Used Wax Records collaboration, which is my record label and Jit's record label. And then, Man Bites Dog are my peoples. They did Devils and Drugs with me last year, as well as Media Shower and other things in the past. And we are going to be working on some new projects with Man Bites Dog. But this particular project is just me and Jit.
No doubt. Yeah, we were able to record an episode with Ryan from Man Bites Dog. So
dope.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Yeah.
So you've been around the world, man. You've toured with a lot of people. You've recorded all kinds of places. I always like to ask, individuals like yourself, who's the coolest person or most famous person you've ever smoked with?
I mean, there've been, that's not trying to flex, but there've been so many, it's hard to even choose one. I would say maybe Nas, I guess. I used to, Khalees, I grew up with Khalees. I went to high school with her. So when Nas and Khalees were married, I came and brought them bud several times. And, there were, many times where we had some actual deep convos over a bunch of L's. And, so yeah, he's one of those guys that's so famous and such a cornerstone to the culture, but also is such a humble, just kind of grounded individual that's philosophical. And, it's like, it's funny, they tell you don't meet your heroes, but he's one of the guys that, because, usually you meet somebody you look up to and they let you down because they're not really what their music led you to believe they were. But he was one of those guys that was that and more, you know what I mean? So he, hearing stories about him growing up in the bridge and, just just deep personal shit and going back and forth about movies and philosophy and boxing and, so we had some good sessions. But I've passed L's to a bunch of people, New York Knicks and celebrities and politicians and everywhere in between, my homie, this wasn't me, but my homie got high with the Bush twins. And, we kind of rub elbows with a lot of these, especially in New York City, running around as kids, we were kind of in all these scenes. So we would hustle too, and then consume drugs with all the fucking, the New York Fly set, you know what I mean? So there's been numerous people, and, and then, if you're in the nightlife scene, whatever, hanging out, you always coming across somebody in the, smoking out in the green room, or, a lot of these, the old clubs used to have, smoking room to the side, and, you in there smoking with this, it might be a celebrity, might be a hip hop celebrity, but it went from Cool Herc to pop stars and shit, and, but, yeah, man, it's just, I guess, the world we kind of grew up in over here. So, but, it's all, celebrity ain't shit anyway. So, they, just because somebody's famous don't make them the best smoking partner. They're just going to smoke your weed and be out.
No doubt. Awesome. Well, dude, it was great recording this with you, and looking forward to some more music. We're gonna drop some of the songs into this episode. So please let everybody know the best place that they can follow you. Where are you most active?
Yeah, just hit me on IG, the double AB TheDoubleAB. Same on Twitter, double AB on Facebook, and doubleab.com, man. Doubleab.com. You get to the web store, you can see the comic, you can hear the music, you got links to the social media. Yeah, hit me there.
Awesome. We'll have all the links
All right.
below, and definitely check out the YouTube as well. That's where the music videos are at. And
Yeah.
some the sashimi ones is pretty hilarious. So
yeah, check it out, man. We real proud of that sashimi joint. Shout out to my man Tapia, who directed that. Amazing video director, friend of mine, also producer. He produced Black Ice, I did with Ito off of Devils and Drugs, and also filmed that video as well. We've done a bunch of videos together, and he's the man. So yeah, I'm just honored to work with him, and the other people around me that are truly dope. So bless up.
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
If you like this episode, make sure you go down and smash the like button for my man Double AB. Go check out some of the music, give him a follow, and make sure you are subscribed to DroTV, because otherwise you'd miss awesome interviews like this one and dope guests like Double AB. So make sure you go down there and subscribe. And that's it for today. We appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, smoke them if you got them.
Peace.
Tuning into another episode on DroTV. If you want to support us here at the channel, you can check out our brand new cannabis line of apparel. We have all high from all 50 states. I'm high from Florida, so you can go and be high from whatever state you are in white or black, a tank top, a hoodie, women's, men's. We've got all sizes for you. We do a lot of stuff for free here. For you, that's how we like to do it. So if you can show us any kind of support, please head over to our link tree, click on our Etsy shop, and go get yourself some sweet gear. When you get it, tag us, post it. We want to see where you're high from, all 50 states as well as a few countries, because we are worldwide, baby. Peace and love. Thank you.